Hey everyone, Nico Play Nick here, and today we have a video on one of my early Paladin builds. Okay, so today we're going to look over my first Paladin build, and we're going to go in here. And just a quick disclaimer, this is by no means the best Paladin build there is in the game. The one I'm going to show you, I'm going to make it, let's make it here. Let's remove the Sork build here. This is by no means the best Paladin build, because there's so many you can do, and like you could argue so many different switches, because there's just so many combinations you can do in a build, right, in a deck. So I had a goal in mind when I made this, and my goal was to make sure that both these units' passive are activated. So the Paladin's 14 or more cost and Maki's 14 or less cost. So that was my goal when doing this. So obviously I'm going to have Maki in here. Now another obvious slot that's taken for me, I think all teams only have 9 slots because Miyuki should be in all of them because she's just so good. So Miyuki's going to jump in there. The most expensive unit I put on this team is Vivian. Okay, so far we have this 3. Maki, because I want to activate the 14 passive. So I know my units are going to die, and that's okay because that's going to do damage. So we want to try and off-balance these expensive with these cheap units. If you are not familiar with what Miyuki and Vivian and Maki do, basically Maki attacks and she has a chance to attack 2 more times. And her passive is when a unit dies, it does damage to the enemy leader, which is dope, 100% of her attack if I'm not mistaken. Miyuki, on the other hand, AoB rage downs, and her special rages down as well. Vivian lowers the cost of the next unit you summon. If you have her lower star, it's a 6 cost lowering, but if you have her higher star like I do, it's a 9 cost lowering. So that's really awesome. So then we're going to add another few strong units here that I usually like to have on my team, and what I had at the time when I was playing the game early on. So we had Phoebe, I think I had Karaya. Yeah, Karaya was like super early on. I don't think I know. She was one of the first units that I pulled. Nicola for sure, because I started her up to at least I think 4 or 5 pretty early on. So now we're looking at a cost of 14.8, right? So we're getting a little bit expensive when doing this build. Nicola is there for the damage resist down. I've talked about this in the video a lot. This team, I wouldn't say lacks damage, but it's not the most fruitful build in damage, let's say, right? You can run aggro builds, Sork builds, and those are going to be big powerhouses for damage. I like to refer to this as kind of like a balanced team. It just offers a lot of different problem solving things for different situations, but by no means does it excel at just one thing the most. Here, let's put in Selena. We have to put in Selena for one of the passives, so she has to go there. So there's like a few slots that are being locked, and if we look at the passives here, the energy has to be 14 or more. Then you look at here, and you need to have Selena or Camille deployed, so we deployed the Selena. At least 6 partners with energy above 13 and have at most 4 classes, or we do and have at least 6 classes. So we need a total of 6 partners that have 13 energy or more. And we need to have a split of only 4 classes or 6 classes or more. 4 classes, and yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go, I think, for the 6th class in this. 6th class? Yes, we're going to go for 6th class in this build. I think. We'll see what it ends up at the end. I think it's 6th class. If I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's going to go to 4. Already we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So we're going for 6. So we're going to need a healer at some point, or a summoner, and you guys know how I feel about summoners right now. They're really not that good, besides Kagaku and Anne. And we're going to get enforcers soon, probably. I think will be the next banner for us, and Pan. So there's that. Selena, by the way, is fantastic. A max star, she can heal as well, which is just busted. She doesn't die as well for 2 hits after she reaches like 1 health. So let's put in the next unit. Oh, we're going to put in Rikia. So Rikia is a fantastic unit, and she's also super low cost, which again is going to help offset this to bring it down to 14. And she offers CC for your team and more AoE. AoE is very nice, especially when clearing story. So now we're covered in AoE with Miyuki, Phoebe, and Rikia, which are like 3 board wipes in our team right now. I mean, Nicola is AoE, but she doesn't do a full board wipe. So, right, we use her more as a debuff in this team. Now we only have 2 slots left, and these last 2 slots are really to average out our numbers. Our numbers are just way too high at this point, and we need to get them down. So the 2 slots kind of become fixed. So we need a little more DPS, and that puts us at 14. And if we want to keep the 14, we have to put a 14 cost unit. So basically, I'm going to put in Diana. We need another healer for that 6th class. Let's see what else we have as options. Go to 14 cost. You could put in an Anna if you want instead. That's an option. You know, if you had a Yuffie, but you won't get the 6th class bonus, so it would have to be Anne. Put in a Polly if you don't have Diana. But you guys know how I feel about Polly, so I probably wouldn't put in Mad Hatter. He's like okay. His hats are interesting, but I would probably go with the N. Much better option. So you could do something like this, and you'd be fine. That works, and it's a very nice unit to have really, and she fits fine in a team like this, because she offers both damage resist and damage rate, so she can play off all the units on this team that need damage or need tankiness. So it's a great unit in a balanced team. And then, like, honestly, switching in things like that, it's like we have a lot of 15 cost. So what are other 15 cost units you can put in? Well, you know, if you don't have Miyuki, well, you can put in, like, for example, you can replace, look, let's say you don't have Rikia and you want Beatrice. You can put in Beatrice and in return replace one of these 15 cost with a 12 cost. So you could replace, like, let's say, I don't know, the Selena would have to be the Selena or the Karaya, but you need Selena, so you can replace the Karaya with like an Annie if you don't have Karaya, right? Something like that. Or you can replace Nicola with Nina, right? And do something like where you take out Nicola, replace with Nina, and put in the 15 cost on Rikia, so your average always stays the same. So there's a few switches you can do like that. Ignore that at the end. Ignore my Astaroth, it's not supposed to be there. And then what else we can do? We have a 17 cost in here. If you want to put a 17 cost, it is possible. It is possible to put another one like Kasumi or Jemmy and run 2. But you'd have to, let's see what you'd have to do. You'd have to cut out, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, so you'd have to cut out like Karaya, put in a 17 cost, and then put in, I think, a 13 cost to offset that, if I'm not mistaken. But the problem is, I think the 13 costs are not yet. So the only good 13 costs you could have put in is probably Amon and potentially Jasmine, in my opinion. Well, I mean, you could put in Rhea, actually. It's really good. What am I saying? Rhea is like really good. So you have a few 13 cost options. You can do that. But that would start leading more to an aggro comp if you want to keep Maki activated. I will actually do a video on Paladin Maki aggro. That will be a whole other build where I focus on keeping the passive alive, but keeping the team aggro. And to do this, we're going to focus on a 4-class kind of lineup and just focus on putting units that we want for this aggro team. So yeah. So just look out for that video, that build, probably next, actually, because I'm a big fan of Paladin. It's the one I run the most. So yeah, so I'll show you guys some teams for this unit. But there's multiple teams you can make for all the leaders. I'll make one for Rogue. I'll make one for the beginner leader as well. So I'll be covering a lot of stuff as well as unit reviews. And I'll be making builds around even teams that I think are not that, units that I think are not that good. I'll try and build a team around them to make them shine. By no means will those teams be top tier. By no means do I think this team is like the best or anything like that. But I like to give myself like a goal with a team, and then make sure I can build in those constraints, because there's obvious solutions. You could say like, oh, you know, like replace Karaya with Anna, and then replace like, you know, Diana maybe with like a Hataru or something like that. Should balance out to 14, and that's technically maybe better. But at the time I didn't have Anna that high, and like, so I made like, I had to make like a choice. But I also like running Karaya Vivian. Karaya Vivian's one of my favorite combos in the game, and I think it's really strong together. So there's a lot of things to consider when building your team. There's a lot of switches you can make, and like somebody could argue, oh, that's better, this is better. But it's not about what, like, I guess it's not, doesn't have to be about what's like perfectly optimal all the time. Sometimes just picking something that you enjoy is good, as long as the overall team works really well and it's strong. And like I said, I cleared everything in Dream Expedition with this comp. I was significantly underpowered with this comp when I finished Dream Expedition, and I was able to clear it. So like it's a solid comp for clearing content. By no means do I think it's you're going to struggle too much with content. It offers you a lot of openings, a lot of solutions to different puzzles that you're going to hit in story. I think it's a really solid comp. So that's my opinion on this. I hope you guys like it. Look forward to more of these build videos, unit videos, review, and please leave some suggestions in the comments below about maybe other types of video you'd like to see. I know you guys told me about the Sork, and I did it, and I know a lot of people were super happy about that. So let me know, and I would love to do more videos that cater to the content you guys all want. So yeah, that'll be it, and have a nice day.